ॐ ॐ श्री गणेशाय नमः। ॐ श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्। अन्तर्यश्च बहिर्विधूततिमिरं ज्योतिर्मयं शाश्वतं स्थानं प्राप्य विराजते विनमताम् अज्ञानमुन्मूलयन्। पश्यन् विश्वमपीदमुल्लसति यो विश्वस्य पारे परः तस्मै श्रीरमणाय लोकगुरवे शोकस्य हन्त्रे नमः। नमो नमः। We are seeing a small text composed by Ramana Maharshi named as Upadesh Saar. Before we begin with today's discussion inquiry, let's go through all the verses. Let's read the text. कर्तुराज्ञया प्राप्यते फलं कर्म किं परं कर्म तज्जडम् कृतिमहो दधौ पतनकारणं फलमशाश्वतं गतिनिरोधकम् ईश्वरार्पितं नेच्छया कृतं चित्तशोधकं मुक्तिसाधकं कायवाङ्मनः कार्यमुत्तमं पूजनं जपश्चिन्तनं क्रमात् जगत ईषधीयुक्तसेवनम् अष्टमूर्तिभृद्देवपूजनम् उत्तमस्तवादुच्चमन्दतः चित्तजं जप ध्यानमुत्तमम् आज्यधारया स्रोतसा समं सरलचिन्तनं विरलतः परं भेदभावनात् सोऽहमित्यसौ भावनाभिदा पावनीमता भावशून्यसद्भावसुस्थितिः भावनाबलाद् भक्तिरुत्तमा हृत्स्थले मनस्वस्थता क्रिया भक्तियोगबोधास्य निश्चितम् वायुरोधनाल्लीयते मनः जालपक्षिवद्रोधसाधनम् चित्तवायवश्चित्क्रियायुताः शाखयोर्द्वयी शक्तिमूलका लयविनाशने उभयरोधने लयगतं पुनर्भवति नो मृतं प्राणबन्धनाल्लीनमानसम् एकचिन्तनान्नाशमेत्यदः नष्टमानसोत्कृष्टयोगिनः कृत्यमस्ति किं स्वस्थितिं यतः दृश्यवारितं चित्तमात्मनः चित्त्वदर्शनं तत्त्वदर्शनम् मानसं तु किं मार्गणे कृते नैव मानसं मार्ग आर्जवात् वृत्तयस्त्वहं वृत्तिमाश्रिताः वृत्तयो मनो विध्यहं मनः अहमयं कुतो भवति चिन्वतः अयि पतत्यहं निजविचारणम् अहमिनाशभाज्यहमहन्तया स्फुरति हृत्स्वयं परमपूर्णसत् इदमहं पदाभिख्यमन्वहम् अहमिलीनकेऽप्यलयसत्तया विग्रहेन्द्रिय प्राणधीतमः नाहमेकसत्तज्जडं ह्यसत् सत्त्वभासिका चित्क्ववेतरा सत्तया हि चित्तया ह्यहम् ईशजीवयोर्वेषधीभिदा सत्स्वभावतो वस्तु केवलम् वेषहानतः स्वात्मदर्शनम् ईशदर्शनं स्वात्मरूपतः आत्मसंस्थितिः स्वात्मदर्शनम् आत्मनिर्द्वयादात्मनिष्ठता ज्ञानवर्जिता ज्ञानहीनचित् ज्ञानमस्ति किं ज्ञातुमन्तरम् किं स्वरूपमेत्यात्मदर्शने अव्यया भवा पूर्णचित्सुखम् बन्धमुक्त्यतीतं परं सुखं विन्दतीह जीवस्तु दैविकः अहमपेतकं निजविभानकं महदिदन्तपो रमणवागियम् महदिदन्तपो रमणवागियम् महदिदन्तपो रमणवागियम्. Ramana Maharshi ji started the inquiry, started the text with explanation that karma is not superior. The first and foremost, we have to understand karma is not going to lead me anywhere. We have discussed this, but let's go through it quickly. The first mistake that we commit is understanding or determining or having this firm conviction that karma, the actions which I perform, are sufficient to get me through this life. Yes, in a way, actions are sufficient. Action can get you results that you want, but they are, or action by itself is not sufficient in gaining your goal. Let me just put this in different words. We know what our goal is, but we have settled for something less, knowingly or unknowingly. What is the goal of our life? What is it that we want? We want happiness without any trace of sorrow. That's for sure. That's final. We want to be happy by any case, by hook or crook. By hook or crook is extreme, but we want to be happy and we don't want even a smallest trace of sorrow, iota of sorrow. Now, okay, you don't want any sorrow, you want happiness in your life. Now what do you do? What we do is we accumulate all the things, we change our surrounding in such a way that all that we have are objects, people, beings, etc., which are going to give me happiness. And all that is the cause of sorrow, we try to discard. But we don't understand one thing, that whatever that we have accumulated as our sources of sorrow, as our sources of happiness, they themselves later become our sources of sorrow. So the karma, the action, is not the final achievement or final means. Karma was taken away. Then what it is? What should we do? We have to understand it is not karma which is superior, but Ishvara. And now, because my mind is so much engrossed, so much accumulated, so much accustomed to performing karma, performing actions and gaining result, I cannot give up karma so easily. So for someone who is rooted, whose mind is rooted in performing karma, he was enjoying a simple mean that yes, go on doing karma. Because you want, your mind is rooted in karma, go on performing karma. But whatever that you perform, give that up, give it, surrender that to Ishvara, the Lord, Bhagavan. Surrender that to Ishvara. Say, this is for you, for yourself, because of your will, I have performed this. I don't want any result from this karma action. Here, understand one thing. I'll give you just small, what do we say, a clue or something very interesting. Because you have given up karma, it does not mean that the result is not going to come to you. So don't worry about it. Better results are going to come to you if you are honest with yourself. The better results are going to come to you. At the same time, that karma, that action is not going to create bondage, and that is not going to cause you trouble. How so? Understand. Same action, when performed with our own wish and will, we have our ego attached to its result. So we are attached to the result of that particular action. And when the result is not according to our expectations, we are sorrowful. If it is according to or exceeds our expectation, we are happy. And then what happens is, because the result has been conducive, we want to perform that same action, karma, again. We are repeating this, but this is very important. And because I want to go on performing that action again and again, that is called vasana, latent impression, and we are stuck in performing karma and its result action. Whereas honestly, when we give up the result of that action, karma phala, and idea that I am doing karma, it is God's will, it is Ishvara's will, it is Ishvara's wish. When this attitude is in my mind, of course, here understand one thing, because it is His wish, He is doing through me, I am not going to do it half-heartedly. I have to do action with my fullest potential. But because now my attitude, my way of thinking is, this is His will, His wish. Whatever the result that I get, I understand is for my good, and it is the best. So now I have no attachment towards either karma or the result of that particular karma. In this way, because I have given up the attachment towards karma and karma phala, I am not bound by that karma. Further, Ramana Maharshi ji talked about, okay, now that you have given up karma, what should be done? While you are doing karma, do karma as the worship of the Lord who has manifested in the form of this entire creation. See Bhagavan everywhere in each and every form. Worship Him. When the topic of worship came, different ways of worship were given at the physical level, at the level of body, at the level of speech, and at the level of mind. Worshipping at the level of body is actual worship, puja, etc. At the level of speech, japa, etc. Repeating the name of Bhagavan. And at the mental level, chintana, reflecting. Further, the japa was given as the loud, not so loud, mental, and different levels of intensity were explained. Manasa japa is the highest. Mentally thinking, mentally dwelling on the Bhagavan, His form, His rupa, guna, katha, His form, His stories, His swarupa, His real true nature. That was the main purpose of Chintana. Then Bhakti was explained, and Bhakti is nothing but firm abidance in one's own true nature, one's own true self, which is nothing but Ishvara himself. This idea of oneness, Abheda Bhavana, and abidance in that Abheda Bhavana, idea of non-duality, that is the best form of devotion. Keep your mind in that particular form. Make your mind abide in non-dual nature of your own self. It has been ascertained that the goal, path of action, karma yoga, ashtanga yoga, or bhakti yoga, or jnana yoga, the main goal of all these paths is nothing but making our mind abide in its own true nature. Now, in which Ashtanga Yoga is going to be started. The explanation of Ashtanga Yoga starts. Ashtanga Yoga with all its 8 limbs have not been explained here, but they have been referred. Let's see what are the 8-fold. If literally we translate Ashta Anga, Anga meaning limbs, parts, that which has 8 parts or 8-fold. Patanjali Maharshi, he propounded this Ashtanga Yoga, and he gave 8-fold nature of this yoga. What are they? First is Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dhyana, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. Out of which Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara are one part, and Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi is second. Yama, what is Yama? The Yama has 5 parts, 5 aspects. What are they? One is Ahimsa, non-injury. Now, we are not going to go into the details of Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya in each and every aspect, because that is not going to be referred by in Ramana Maharshi's teaching. Ramana Maharshi is directly going to go into the nature of mind and how mind should be controlled. So we will just skim through this Ashtanga Yoga, and then we will come to the main topic at our hand. So he says, Ahimsa, non-injury. Non-injury, understand, it is not never non-injury. Understand Bhagavad Gita. Non-injury is when you out of deliberation, willingly, without any reason, are harming anyone. Whether that is via speech, intentionally harming someone. That's where the idea of non-injury lies. It's not never hitting someone or never harming someone. There are many factors to it, but let's leave it at that. Further, Asteya, Satya, truthfulness, being truthful. We have to be very careful while being truthful. Literally, if we take simple example, if somebody asks us, what time is it? What do we usually say? It is 5:19, 19 past 5. But actually when we are seeing 19 past 5, by the time we tell the time what it is, some seconds have gone by, some seconds have passed. So in a way we have lied. But we don't have to go to that extreme, being truthful. That is the part. Asteya, non-stealing, not taking something that does not belong to you. Asteya. Brahmacharya, continence. And aparigraha, non-hoarding. The practice of these values, what does it do? It enriches our lives and harmonizes our relation with others. There is very beautiful analogy. There is very beautiful analogy. Very beautiful explanation. Let's see that explanation. So it better helps us in our vyavahara. It may not particularly go hand in hand with the explanation that we have right now, but we can correlate. See, each and every person, if we really look at it, it's not just one single person, but a world in itself. In higher texts, it has been explained that world is in my mind. All that I see is nothing. There outside there is nothing else. The entire world is nowhere but in my mind. If we just extend this idea, then each person is a world in itself. Why? Because he has his own dreams, own fantasies, own relation with other people, and his ideas, etc. Now, this world, in a way, is connecting with all other people surrounding him, around him. This world is connecting with all other peoples around him. Those people are connecting with different people. Those are connecting with different. So it is like branching a net, a mesh which has been tightly knit. Very tightly, and it has many nodes, many points at which different branches are coming out, which are joining with different nodes, many points. Let me give you a visual example. Imagine, you must have seen this. You know, people throw food to fishes. So many of those breadcrumbs, etc., or some balls of that food, they are thrown in water. If that is not easier to imagine, imagine handful of pebbles being thrown in water. Now what's going to happen is, if you carefully look, everywhere where that pebble drops in water, it is going to create ripples. Now all the ripples, they are going to come cross over one another, and when they cross one another, it is going to create some different waves, patterns, and they are going to go in different directions. And then it is going to branch out, and different patterns are going to be created. That's what is happening throughout our life. We are connected with different people. Our world is going out, their world is going out, our worlds collide, clash. Sometimes they merge with each other, sometimes they collide, clash with each other, go different ways, go different parts. Now, if this has to harmonize, if this whole thing has to harmonize, each and every ripple, understand, each and every ripple, each and every person, the world which is going out through each and every person should have majority of part which is common. Should have majority of part which is common with one another. If there is nothing common with one another, it is not going to merge and harmonize. Of course, each and every person is an individual in itself, has its own ideas, has its own nature. But keeping that aside, when interacting with the world, there should be something common which is expected by Shastra, the text. Some part has been explained by Ashtang Yoga here in Yama. Being truthful with everyone. If everybody is truthful with everyone, nobody has to worry about anything. If nobody takes someone else's object, why should there be any sorrow? Reflect on this point. Ahimsa, non-injury. If I decide willingly not to harm someone, why will he have some reason to harm me? Not at all. Ahimsa, satya, asteya, aparigraha, non-hoarding. Not hoarding, not keeping any excessive object, giving them away so that someone who needs can benefit. Coming to niyama, the next part. Niyama is shaucha, the inner purity, and outer cleanliness. Purity of my mind, my way of thinking, and the bodily purity also. Santosha, santosha is contentment. Being happy with whatever that I receive and whatever that I have. Not having exaggerated desire for gaining or for winning over the world. Then tapa, austerity. Swadhyaya, Swadhyaya, study of Veda. Swadhyaya, literally, what is expected is study of Veda, study of Shastra. And Ishvara Pranidhana. Ishvara Pranidhana, surrendering to Bhagavan Ishvara. Be ready to surrender. Otherwise, this ego is very much harmful. Then comes Asana. What is asana? Asana is the practice of various postures. Why? For keeping body healthy, one part, and the other part is if body can stay in one particular posture without moving, that helps in pacifying our mind, calming our mind. Now you may say, what about sleep? Okay, you can lay down, but when you are lying down, you have to make sure that you are awake and you have to make sure you are not moving at all. One particular posture meaning one particular posture, no movement at all. There are different ways of doing Shavasana and Yoga Nidra, etc., which are now famous, very much well known. In that, you are not supposed to move your hands. You cannot cross your legs in between, then separate your legs, keep your legs like this. No. That's not how it is supposed to be. One posture as in one posture. If you can maintain one posture while lying down, while being awake, very good. Unfortunately, laying down is associated with sleeping. So, when we lie down, our mind quickly goes to sleep. That's why it is not advised. It is not advised that you lay down and meditate, etc. Anyways, after asana comes pranayama. Pranayama is the control of breath, whereby mind becomes subtle and pure. How is it? Ramana Maharshi ji is going to talk about this part. Controlling of our mind is primarily or can primarily be done by pranayama. Prana vikshana, observing our breath. After pranayama comes pratyahara. Pratyahara is the withdrawal of our sense organs from its sense objects, not desiring for particular form, taste, smell, etc. Then comes dharana. Dharana is to focus the mind in one particular place, is dharana. When dharana is the initial part, This practice gives high amount of concentration. It increases your concentration. After dharana, there is dhyana. Dhyana is meditation, or yes, take it as meditation, and where it is maintaining the steady flow of thought in Ishvara. Here, the maintenance of steady flow of thought is willingly with effort. And when the same thing becomes effortless, it becomes samadhi, uh, where it is the total cessation of all thoughts, where no thoughts are there. All thoughts have gone into laya. This is the culmination of yoga, Ashtanga yoga. Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi ji does not elaborate on yama, niyama, asana. He is going to talk about the further parts. He talks about pranayama. He explains thereafter the role of pranayama and in contemplation. Why do we need pranayama? What is the importance of pranayama? See the 11th verse. वायुरोधनाल्लीयते मनः जालपक्षिवद्रोधसाधनम्. Vayurodhanat. Vayu, pranavayu. By Vayurodhanat, by controlling, by restraining of pranas. Now, when it is said Vayu, do not translate it as air. Prana should not be translated as air. It is not just air. Otherwise, the air which is there in tires, tubes, that also would have become prana. That's not what is expected here. So, the mind becomes absorbed by restraining of prana and breathing. Vayurodhana liyate manaha, manaha liyate. When you control your breath, mind gets absorbed, mind gets restrained. Jalapakshivat rodha sadhanam. He gives example. This is like the net that is used to ensnare birds. Now, with your breathing, control this mind which is like a bird. Mind has been referred to as a bird in Chandogya Upanishad. There the context is different, but what there has been explained is manaha disham disham patitva anyatra ayatanam alabdhva. Imagine a bird which is on a boat which is going through an ocean, which is in the middle of the ocean. A bird has nestled on top of its mast. Now in the morning it decides to go out. He goes in all directions to find a place where he can stay, where he can go away. But the thing is, he does not find any place where he can stay. Why? Because everywhere he goes there is water only. It's an ocean. So what it does is, it comes back at night and goes back to sleep in its nest. That's how mind, when it wakes up early in the morning, it goes in all direction. It goes in all direction. It experiences all the objects around and tries to find a place to reside, place to stay in all those objects. but it does not find anywhere a place to stay because all those are ephemeral, they are not eternal, they are temporary. So what it does is it comes back and goes back to sleep in its own Swarupa, which is Atma. Now, if you don't want this mind to go away anywhere, you have to train this mind. How can we train this mind? If we want to train this mind, we first have to catch this mind. How to get hold of this mind? How to catch this mind? Vayurodhanat. Ramana Maharshi says, you can ensnare this mind. You can catch this mind by prana vikshana, pranayama. Just as a bird can be caught in a net, our various thoughts are restrained by controlling breathing, which is very much evident, is it not? When we become angry, what happens? Our breathing fastens. Breathing becomes heavy. It becomes fast. Our heart starts beating faster. So, mind and our breathing, beating of heart, heartbeats, etc. is connected. So according to the science of Ashtanga Yoga, our breathing has three parts, three aspects. One is Puraka. Puraka, inhalation. Puraka is filling up. Kumbhaka. Kumbhaka is retention. And Rechaka, rich, emptying. What is Puraka? Filling up, that is inhalation. Rechaka, from rich to empty, exhalation. And Kumbhaka is retention. So when we are breathing, there is inhalation and exhalation. Just inhale, exhale, that's what we do. Pranayama says, add one step. What you do is, when you inhale, there are multiple ways of doing this. This is just general example. First, observe your breath. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Just do that. After that, once your mind is focused on inhalation and exhalation, you have got used to it. What you have to do is, after you inhale, do not exhale quickly. Retain that breath. Then exhale out. Again retain. So inhale, retain, exhale, retain, inhale, retain, exhale, retain. For how long, for how much duration you have to do that, there are different methods. We are not concerned with those methods. Ramana Maharshi ji is primarily concerned with the observing of that breath. Just do general retains, inhalation, exhalation and retention. By that, your mind becomes calmer and it becomes under your control. You can control that mind. Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi ji advises a very simple method of pranayama. He says Vayu Rodhanat. When he is talking about Vayu Rodhanat, observe prana. Why? Because improper way of pranayama is harmful to our health. Pranayama should be learned from a competent guru, a person who is well learned, who knows what pranayama, how pranayama should be done. It should be learned from him. But Ramana Maharshi ji says, keeping aside all kumbhaka, rechaka, puraka, observe your breath. And by observing, manaha liyate, mind will automatically get absorbed. This is with a way of controlling our mind. But because mind has got absorbed, that does not mean you have gained Brahma Jnana. It is still ignorant. The mind just has become calmer and peaceful. Now, what is the relation between the breath and the mind? That is now being explained. The 12th verse. चित्तवायवश्चित्क्रियायुताः शाखयोर्द्वयी शक्तिमूलका. चित्तवायवः, चित्तवायवः, चित्तवायु, Tvanchavayu. Chitta, mind, and Vayu, vital airs. Chit Kriya Yutaha, they are endowed with Chit, that is Jnana, Kriya, that is action, or activizing force. Kriya is activizing force, that which enables action. Jnana Shakti and Kriya Shakti. The power of knowledge, the power of knowing, and power of performing an action. I don't know right now wherever you are listening, but right now outside, Ishvara is doing pranayama, and in between he is snoring also. In other words, it's raining and there are lightning also. Anyways, when we were learning, our Acharya ji, he used to say, if you see wind blowing fast or trees shaking vigorously, understand Ishvara is doing Kapalabhati. He is doing pranayama. This is the way of observing the world outside. Good way. Anyways, let's come back. Chittavayavas Chitkriyayutaha. They are endowed with power of knowledge and power of action. Shakhayoho dvayi. Shakhayoho. These are the two branches. Two branches of what? Shakti Mulaka, the root cause of energy. What Ramana Maharshi ji is saying here is, the mind and the vital layers are endowed with knowledge and power of action respectively. Mind has the power of knowing. Here mind take as buddhi also. Everything in one. And prana, power of action. Kriya Shakti. So mind has Jnana Shakti, prana has Kriya Shakti, and these are the two branches of one root cause, one basic strength, one basic power, which is Ishvara himself. Ishvara himself, he himself has Jnana Shakti and Kriya Shakti. The pranas and mind are capable of functioning. Why are they capable of functioning? Because they are endowed with consciousness, chit, and yet they have different powers by themselves. The prana have Kriya Shakti. The prana, they have Kriya Shakti, and mind has Jnana Shakti. That's why all our senses are capable of knowing. All five senses are capable of knowing, and we know through all five senses, and we can act because our mind, which is the HOD of all these five, which is above all these five, which manages all these five departments, combines the knowledge gained from all five sense organs and merges it into one, knows and reacts. Imagine, in many companies, everywhere, if you see, there is a department. So there are different department, different branches for proper functioning of any community, any institute, etc. Now, there is one department which manages all these five. So what that department does is, it is that department, it never goes out. Really, in a sense, it never goes out and does the work of those respective departments. What it does is, it gathers all these sources, all the information, all these from all these departments, and it makes it one, and then decides what is to be done with all the information which has been gathered from these different departments. In the same way, our mind gathers all information from different five sense organs, makes it into one, knows and reacts. Had this not been the case, there was no one who was managing all the five. What would have happened is, while we were seeing, we would not have been able to listen. Why? Because there is no one to correlate, merge these two. There is no one to make it one. Mind is capable of doing that. Mind does that. So mind has jnana shakti. But our sense or organs of action, they cannot act by themselves. They need prana. Why? Because prana has kriya shakti, the strength of performing action. But the root of both of these powers is in Maya. Why? Maya has jnana shakti, kriya shakti in its essence, because it is trigunatmaka. Jnana shakti, ichha shakti, kriya shakti. That's how it is explained. Here we are referring to only two parts, jnana shakti and kriya shakti of Maya. But that Maya is Brahma Shraya, Ishvara Shraya. Because it is abiding in Ishvara, in reality, they are nothing but the power of Ishvara. Hence, Ramana Maharshi ji explains that prana and mind are like two branches of the same tree. And because they are two branches of the same tree, they are interrelated. They are correlated. They have relation between the two. Recently, and it is very interesting to know. Recently, I came across a very beautiful information. If we understand, pardon, if we ask, which is the largest organism, largest living organism, organism as in a organism, a living being, let's simplify, which is the largest living being, animal or anything. When we say organism, you have to include even the minutest, tiniest of an insect, bacteria, etc. Which is the largest living organism? We may say whale or shark, etc. Some big fish or elephant, etc. that we know of. But no, there is different organism. It is, I think, forest, or otherwise you can talk about mushrooms also. Certain type of fungi, mushroom or tree. Forget that. Let's take example of grass, cynodon. You know, the grass which we collect as durva, that we offer to Ganapati. When one starts growing, it gives out branches. When at one place, you can put that at one place. Then it starts growing in all directions. And when it grows, at certain point, a new grass will come out from the ground. Now from outside, it may feel like each and every leaf or each and every part is different from one another, because it is coming out the ground at different places. But underground, all of these are connected with one another. Like the mesh we explained earlier. And because it has started from one single organism, one single original organism, they all are nothing but the same. If we take the genetic material, DNA analysis, they will have one and the same DNA. Of course, there are certain variations, etc. We are not going to go into that, but it is going to be the one single organism. Interestingly, this is how is about prana and mind. They are not different from one another. At the where they are expressing, they may appear different, but they are interrelated, they are correlated, they are part of two branches of one and the same tree. That's why in the method of prana vikshana, the observation of the breath, we observe the inhalation, exhalation, the inflow and outflow of our breath without analyzing, interpreting and judging. Don't do anything, just observe. It helps. The mind gets preoccupied and no association of thoughts with likes and dislikes takes place. So by that it gets quietened and it gets concentrated. Now the restraint of prana helps us as a seeker in absorption of mind. So mind gets absorbed, mind gets quietened, but it does not end. The annihilation of mind, the total cessation of mind, total ending of ignorance does not take place. So the total annihilation of mind, the destruction of mind and absorption of mind are two different things. Absorption of mind helps in annihilation. Why? Because agitated mind will never be under our control, and if it is not under our control, knowledge is not going to take place. So what should we do? Ramana Maharshi ji is saying, लय विनाशने उभयरोधने लयगतं पुनर्भवति नो मृतम्. Ramana Maharshi ji says, Laya vinashane. Laya, absorption. Vinashane, destruction. Absorption and destruction of mind. Ubhayarodhane, by rodhana, controlling of both prana and mind. By controlling of both prana and mind, when mind is absorbed or destroyed. There, layagatam, that which has undergone laya, absorption, punaha bhavati, it comes back. But na mritam, but that which has been destroyed, mritam, punaha na bhavati. In simple words, the absorption of mind, manolaya, and destruction of mind, manonasha, are two different things. Manolaya, manonasha is achieved by ubhayarodhane, by restraining of both the prana and mind respectively. But Manolaya, mind which has undergone absorption will come back, but which has undergone destruction is not going to come back. There is a lot of difference here. Understand? When we go to sleep, at that time also our mind undergoes laya. Mind is absorbed. But the mind which has been destroyed is a totally different thing. There is a difference between a man who is sleeping and a man who is dead. If we are to take a gross example, such is the difference between mind which has been absorbed and mind which has been destroyed. The mind which has absorbed will come back. It starts its usual function. It will start functioning as it was functioning earlier. But the mind which has undergone destruction is not going to come back, and it is not going to cause any sorrows. It is not going to create any samsara. How so? Let's just take a example from Chandogya Upanishad, the detailed discussion that we will see next time. Chandogya Upanishad says, there it has been explained, what usually exactly happens is, when we go to sleep, swapiti nama swam apito bhavati. In reality, what is happening is, when we go to sleep, we are merging back into our own true nature Swarupa. We are going back into our own Swarupa. Okay. But what happens is, we don't know that we have merged with our own true nature. So, in other words, mind has undergone laya. And because it has undergone laya, when we wake up, it comes into vyuthana. It comes back again. Mind comes back again. So when our mind undergoes laya, the way it had undergone laya, it will come back again. That's why animals such as tiger, lion, bedbugs, mosquitoes, birds, when they go to sleep, mind undergoes laya. Their mind also undergoes laya. It merges with their own swarupa. But when it comes back as lion, tiger, etc. Imagine, lion went to sleep and woke up as a sheep. It never happens. It comes back as lion only. When we go to sleep, when we wake up in the same way as the person who went to sleep. We do not wake up as a different person. That's what has been referred to as mind undergoing laya, absorption, and coming back. It is different from mind undergoing total destruction. This samsara, this world around us, is the creation of our mind, projection of our mind, and when mind gets destroyed, this entire creation is going to get destroyed. In which way? The reality given to this creation is going to go away. The reality, importance given to this entire creation, satyatva, is going to go away, and when that is given up, the sorrows coming from that, they are not going to harm me. So, this is the general difference. What is the difference between mind which is absorbed and mind which has undergone laya, destruction? In detail, we will see next time, and what Ramana Maharshi ji has to say, that we will see further. Om asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amratangamaya. Om shanti shanti shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.